the power of now. A journey into the present moment. In a world that often feels overwhelming, with its constant demands and endless distractions, many of us find ourselves searching for peace, happiness, and fulfillment. Yet, these things often seem just out of reach, as if they're hiding behind the next achievement, the next milestone, or the next day. But what if the key to all we seek is not in the future, but in the present moment? This is the central message of The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, a book that has transformed lives by teaching the profound importance of living fully in the present. The Awakening, discovering the power of now. Eckhart Tolle's journey into the present moment began with a personal crisis. He describes a deep depression that led him to question the very nature of his existence. One night, he experienced an intense feeling of despair, which brought him to the brink of suicide. In that moment, a profound shift occurred. He realized that the voice in his head, the constant stream of thoughts that fueled his suffering, was not truly him. There was a deeper, more peaceful presence within him, an awareness that was untouched by the turmoil of his mind. This awakening marked the beginning of his exploration into the nature of consciousness and the power of the present moment. You are not your mind, the source of suffering. One of the most important concepts Tolle introduces is the idea that we are not our minds. The mind, with its endless chatter, judgments, and fears, often dominates our awareness. Most of us now live as though we are at the mercy of our thoughts, identifying so closely with them that we believe they define who we are. Tolle argues that this identification with the mind is the root of much of our suffering. Our thoughts are often focused on the past or the future, rarely on the present moment. We replay old memories, regret past actions, or worry about what is to come. This constant mental activity pulls us away from the now, the only place where life truly unfolds. The mind's tendency to dwell on time, past and future, creates an illusory sense of self, what Tolle calls the ego. The ego thrives on separation, comparison, and fear, and it is perpetually dissatisfied. It is the voice in our head that tells us we are not enough, that we need more to be happy. The power of the present moment. The essence of Tolle's teachings is simple yet profound. True peace and fulfillment can only be found in the now. The present moment is all there ever is. The past is gone, and the future is not yet here. By fully inhabiting the present, we step out of the time-bound mind and into a state of presence, where we can experience life directly, without the distortions of the mind. Tolle describes the present moment as a gateway to a deeper state of being. This state of presence is not about doing anything in particular. It's about simply being fully alert, fully aware, and fully alive. In this state, we can connect with our true essence, which is beyond thought and beyond form. This essence is often referred to as the self or being, and it is the same in all of us. It is a state of pure awareness of consciousness itself. The illusion of time. A major theme in The Power of Now is the concept of time and how it shapes our perception of reality. Tolle explains that time is an illusion, a construct of the mind. The past and future exist only as thoughts in our minds. The only true reality is the present moment. Our obsession with time is a source of much of our anxiety and stress. We regret the past, worry about the future, and miss the beauty and peace of the present moment. By constantly thinking about time, we disconnect from the now and from the life that is unfolding before us. Tolle encourages us to let go of our attachment to time and to live more fully in the present. This doesn't mean that we ignore practical considerations like planning for the future or learning from the past. Rather, it means that we do these things from a place of presence, without getting lost in the stories our minds create. The pain body, carrying the past within us. Another key concept Tolle introduces is the idea of the pain body. The pain body is an accumulation of old emotional pain that we carry within us. It is the result of past hurts, traumas, and negative experiences that have not been fully processed or released. This emotional pain becomes lodged in our energy field and manifests as a separate entity within us, feeding on negative thoughts and emotions. The pain body can be dormant or active. When dormant, it lies in the background, influencing our moods and reactions. When activated often by something that triggers old wounds, it takes over our consciousness, causing us to react in ways that are out of proportion to the present situation. We might lash out in anger, feel deep sadness, or experience intense anxiety. These reactions are often automatic and unconscious, driven by the pain body's need to sustain itself. Tolle explains that the key to transcending the pain body is awareness. By bringing the light of consciousness to the pain body, we can begin to disidentify from it. We can observe it without being consumed by it, and in doing so, we begin to dissolve its power over us. This process of healing and liberation requires us to stay present, to witness our pain without judgment, and to allow it to be transmuted by our awareness. Accessing the power of now. Practical techniques. Tolle offers several practical techniques for accessing the power of the present moment and breaking free from the grip of the mind. One of the most effective techniques is to focus on the breath. By paying attention to the breath, we anchor ourselves in the present moment, quieting the mind and bringing our awareness into the body. Another technique is to observe the mind itself. Tolle encourages us to become the watcher of our thoughts, to observe them as they arise without getting caught up in them. This practice of mindfulness helps us create a space between our thoughts and our true self, allowing us to recognize that we are not our thoughts. Tolle also emphasizes the importance of bringing awareness to the body. By focusing on the sensations in the body, we can become more grounded in the present moment. This practice, which he calls inner body awareness, helps us connect with the energy field within us and brings us into a deeper state of presence. Relationships. Entering the now together. Relationships are a significant area where the teachings of the power of now can be applied. Tolle explains that many relationships are fraught with conflict, misunderstanding, and pain because they are based on egoic needs. The ego uses relationships to validate itself, to feel complete, or to satisfy its desires. This leads to a cycle of dependency, expectation, and disappointment. Tolle suggests that relationships can be transformed by bringing the power of presence into them. When we are fully present with another person, we are not focused on what we can get from them or how they can meet our needs. Instead, we are simply there, fully aware and open. This presence creates a space for true connection and intimacy to arise. In a relationship where both partners are present, conflicts are less likely to arise, and when they do, they are more easily resolved. Presence allows us to see the other person as they are, without the projections and judgments of the mind. It also helps us to communicate more authentically, from a place of love and understanding rather than fear and ego. Beyond happiness and unhappiness, finding true peace. Tolle makes a crucial distinction between happiness, which is dependent on external circumstances, and peace, which is independent of what happens in the external world. Many people spend their lives chasing happiness, believing that if they achieve certain goals, acquire certain possessions, or have certain experiences, they will finally be happy. However, this pursuit often leads to frustration and dissatisfaction, as happiness is fleeting and subject to change. True peace, on the other hand, comes from within. It is not dependent on external conditions and can be accessed at any moment by stepping into the present. Tolle describes this state of peace as the joy of being, a deep sense of contentment and well-being that arises when we are fully present and connected to our true self. This peace is available to us at all times, regardless of what is happening in our lives. It is the background of our existence, the stillness that underlies all activity. By cultivating presence, we can tap into this inner peace and carry it with us through the ups and downs of life. The end of suffering, living in the now. At the core of Tolle's message is the idea that suffering is not an inevitable part of life. While pain is a natural part of the human experience, suffering arises from our resistance to the present moment. When we resist what is when we wish things were different, when we dwell on the past, or when we fear the future, we create suffering. The way out of suffering is simple yet challenging. Surrender to the present moment. This does not mean passively accepting everything that happens or giving up on changing difficult circumstances. Rather, it means accepting what is fully and completely without resistance. When we surrender to the now, we align ourselves with the flow of life, and in this state of acceptance, suffering dissolves. Tolle emphasizes that living in the now is a practice, one that requires commitment and patience. It is not something that happens overnight, but rather a gradual process of awakening. Each moment offers an opportunity to step out of the mind and into the now, to choose presence over unconsciousness, and to embrace life as it is. Conclusion: the liberation of consciousness, the power of now, is more than just a book. It is a guide to spiritual awakening and personal transformation. It challenges us to question our assumptions about who we are and what life is about. It invites us to explore the depths of our own consciousness and to discover the peace and joy that come from living fully in the present moment. Eckhart Tolle's teachings have resonated with millions of people around the world, offering a path out of the suffering and confusion of the mind and into the clarity and peace of the now. By embracing the present moment, we can free ourselves from the tyranny of time, dissolve the ego, and experience life in its full, vibrant reality. As we practice living in the now, we begin to see that the present moment is not just a fleeting instant between the past and the future, but the very essence of life itself. It is where we find our true self, our deepest purpose, and our greatest joy. And in this realization lies the true power of now.
Feel free to subscribe, share the audio, and hit the like button if you enjoy the content. Thanks for listening.